Hey, moon lovers, welcome to another episode of All Things Moon with myself, Kelly Jones. And it's challenging to say the least. But, we know Mercury is retrograde, so it can give us technological challenges. It seems to be that every time I speak to you guys, I have got some kind of technical challenge. Today, there is drilling in the road right outside my house. So if you hear that, I really do apologise. It seems to have been constant, and I keep hoping they're having a break. And I think maybe they are having a break at the moment. So I've just jumped on. My screen froze. I've had to restart everything, but I'm here and, letting go of perfectionism and just going with it. I'm here and we're just going to deal with it. So we have got coming up on Monday, the 19th of August, a full moon in Aquarius, known as a blue moon because it's one of, I think it's the third one of 4 in a row. But, the moon won't be blue. We won't harp on about that. It's a full moon in Aquarius, which would suggest change and, very Uranus or Saturn type energies anyway. But we have got so many aspects going on. This particular, August the 19th is, even with some of the astrologers who don't like to, spread fear or do any propaganda around the astrology, are saying that this is going to be one of the biggest astrological days of the decade or even longer than that. So we'll see what Monday brings. But I always like to bring some kind of grounded sense of calm and ease to whatever it is that's coming. We never really know. Astrology is a language that helps us to look at the cycles of life and time and look at the likelihoods of certain types of things happening. We don't know how, where, or who it might be. Our own unique birth charts all will make a difference to how all of this plays out. We're likely to see some of these things playing out in the world, but again, how that's going to be, who knows? All I can suggest is that being forewarned is forearmed, and maybe Monday deliberately set your day with intention to stay as calm and easy as possible. Whatever you practice to help you with that, please do it. Get on your yoga mat, stop and notice how you feel. Take a moment to breathe. For sure, I am feeling these energies coming up, and the first line that I have here on my notes says, when staying the same doesn't work anymore. This is an Aquarius moon, so it should be a free spirit moon. And I have an Aquarius partner, and he is wanting to embrace his free spirit at the moment. So if I stay the same, then who knows, it could all go wrong and we could see challenges come up in our relationship. So I have some decisions to make this time round with how I am going to be in our situation. This is what you might call an awakening, enlightenment energy. We've got 2 T squares, which are, the T could stand for tense, for tension, for tight, for testing. So remember, I always say that this is coming along for us, not to us. So how will I personally deal with the tests that I'm being sent to challenge my inner world so that I see my outer world reflected out? If I stay in the same Leo fixed mindset and Aquarius fixed mindset, we've got Uranus sitting in Taurus in that T square. Taurus is fixed, so a lot of fixed energy. But we also have another T square going on. I haven't got time in this podcast to explain more about T squares, but basically it's when two planets are opposite each other, and then you have a third one in the mix, which makes a square to both. So you've got a square to this is at a 90-degree angle, and this is at a 90-degree angle to that as well. So you've got what it's known as a T square, and we've got two of those going on. But the other one is all immutable signs. And mutable signs mean being adaptable, adjustable. So when you get in a relationship between a very adjustable, adaptable person and a very fixed person, how will this play out? Will I have to adapt and adjust myself even more, or will the fixed person do some adjusting too? So, we'll watch how this story plays out, but at least I am aware of it. And this is why I share this stuff with you, so that I can respond from a place of some knowing. It is the unknown. Uranus is squaring off to everybody in this full moon. Uranus is the sudden shocks, revolution, rebellion, the unknown. We have no idea what Uranus is going to, cause to happen in this, but we do have free will when we have some foresight. So let's just see. So other things I've got written down here is don't deny your weirdness and embrace all of the mess. So, I decided in the spirit of Leo season that we're still in, with the Aquarius being different, I would wear my crystal crown today, a little different one. Leo energy is, so the sun in Leo is opposing the full moon in Aquarius. It's an opposition. So I have got my creative spirit out. Mercury is retrograde back into the sign of Leo now. So it'll be going over and calling us to look at our creativity and how we express ourselves in the world. But the Aquarius energy is asking us to look at how our own self-expression can serve others and humanity and community. And, so even though this time would be centered around ourselves, that Leo, how can making our personal mark on the world remind us about connection and collaboration with community and humanity? And also, it brings a real spotlight. It's a full moon, so it's going to bring illumination and a spotlight onto all things relationships and technology. So it couldn't be better energy for the collaboration that I'm doing with my friend for our new venture called Gather Chelmsford, where we are wanting to bring together community and use our own self-expression and creativity to enable that to happen and allow people to have time off from technology. So just looking at my notes here, make sure I don't miss anything. There is so much going on that I couldn't possibly fit it all into just one podcast. I am doing a full moon ceremony on Monday the 19th, but I'm actually choosing to do it at my sanctuary, my mum's caravan. I've got my top moon lovers coming. We're going to do this in person, but I really recommend that you go and listen to some astrology podcasts out there on YouTube. My teacher, Nightlight Astrology, Adam Ellenbass. There's so many. You could listen to Steve Judd for 40 years worth of British astrology point of view, Pam Gregory to take that higher perspective. I don't recommend that you listen to some of the what we call the pop astrology, where they are scaremongering and making drama out of everything and using it to get views. Wouldn't recommend that, but definitely go and listen to a few and get a sense of what's going on and then how that is for you. Look at your own birth chart. Ask me questions if you want. Send me some questions if you've got any, and I can endeavour to help you out with that. But, you know, we have got this theme of Pluto in Aquarius, 20 years worth of that coming up. And I feel like this is that big culmination point before we have the eclipses coming up starting in September, which are going to be end points. And I've just had a memory come up on Facebook of 6 years ago to remind me of just how powerful eclipses can be. One of those eclipses 6 years ago was in my sign of Cancer, and the full moon total lunar eclipse was in the sign of Aquarius. And we have this full moon in Aquarius coming up. So I've sat and remembered that time and how challenging it was at the time, but looking back with the benefit of hindsight to see what it did for me, what it brought for me, how it changed me. And maybe spend a little bit of time looking back for yourself so that you can look forward and know that no matter how challenging it might feel right now, how intense, I mean, has the intensity eased off at all? I'm not sure it has. But maybe we've had a little lull in the past couple of weeks where it's been lovely weather here in the UK and we've had a bit of summertime. And oh, I mustn't forget to tell you, I've finally started writing my book. I took myself off to my mum's caravan, decided to change my routine up a bit. I didn't teach on Tuesday morning like I normally do. I woke up at my mum's caravan and with complete clarity started writing. My first chapter is down. I've got the cover to the book, I've got the title, it's all happening. But the night before was the Perseid meteor shower, and I witnessed 22 shooting stars. I sat looking up for 2.5 hours till 2:30 in the morning, meditating on the stars. 22 shooting stars. Auspicious, ominous, who knows? But I woke up feeling clear, with clarity on what I was going to write about. So please do take some time for yourself to stop and notice, look up at the stars, sit with them, commune with them, attune to the moon, start to get a relationship and a connection going so that you intuitively and instinctively start to feel what's happening, what's coming, noticing it without listening to podcasts and reading things. But then when you do go, oh yes, I've noticed that. So this transit that we've got coming up in the next 20 years, complete transformation between the relationship between humans and technology. How can we use this for good? How can we use it for ourselves? How can we be okay with it? How can we balance it? This current full blue moon brings the spotlight onto and challenging each of us to gain awareness of how we want our lives to look in terms of screen time, social media, reliance on these technical devices. I am bringing this information to you through much challenge of using these things. And oh, how I wish to just sit in person with you and share this stuff without all these obstacles in the way. But I persevere with determination and look forward to doing the in-person thing as well as some balance to this. So, hello, you've come to join us. So my cat, if you can't see me on camera, my lovely cat Indy has come to join us for a little while. So the Uranus, so this T square that we have between, so an opposition is always a form, the sun and the moon. When the moon is full, it's always an opposition between the sun and the moon. That's at 27 degrees of Aquarius. The sun is at 27 degrees of Leo, and that T square caused by Uranus is at 27 degrees of Taurus. So, as I said, tense, testing, and tight could be the description. It's like a whirlwind of unpredictable energy. So, staying calm no matter what is our challenge for this. The foundations that we once relied upon may suddenly just become unstable. And, we are being pushed to revolutionize our lives in whichever way that means to you. And I'm sure it will become clearer after Monday as everything starts to unfold. The one thing I will say is whatever you see going on outside in the collective, in the outside world, turn off the news, try not to get yourself all caught up in something that's not in your control to do anything. The best way that you can have an effect on those around you and for the greater energy of it all is to look inwards at yourself and, as as cliche as it might sound, be the change that you want to see in the world. Not just in the world, but in your close proximity around you. How can what's going on with you be revolutionized? How can you use this energy, this other T square of mutable, adaptable energy? It's in Venus, is still in Virgo, and Venus is opposing Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces. And the square we've got going on there is Jupiter and Mars. Jupiter and Mars are next to each other. If you look up in the night sky at the moment, you can see Jupiter shining really bright, and you can see like a little red dot, and that is Mars, and they are really just next to each other. So this is really powerful energy. Jupiter and Mars are in Gemini. So, I wonder what's going to happen next. Deeper intuition into what's going on. We might get a sense of what's going on. The full moon is, helping us to be not so overly specific in our desires, but try not to blow tiny issues out of proportion. I've already done that this week. Caught myself and decided that, do you know what? The best thing I can do is say nothing, be quiet, step back, take a moment before I respond. Take some time, even if that person wants an answer from you. Boundaries. Give me time, give me space, let me breathe, and I will come back in the best way that I can come back. You know, with Mars in that mix there, words could be quite cutting. So, you know, again, monitor your moods when dealing with your loved ones. You might feel more sort of tightly wound up and a bit more impulsive. I know that my partner Tom, he was wound up this week and he did something impulsive, which is now bringing up this challenge for us to deal with. And it harps back to some previous stuff which is being brought up to be seen. Did we clear it, or did we just sweep it under the carpet for a while? So how can we do it better this time? Stop and notice how we feel. You know, come back to it from a place of calm and ease and some higher perspective, because, you know, that Saturn in Pisces is asking us to be more mature in our higher perspective. You know, it might be that we're a bit more emotional. Full moons are always emotional. You know, we've got to recognise and address our inner conflicts and how they're playing out in outer conflicts. Any insecurities that are holding us back from valuing ourselves fully and fully committing to what is valuable to us. You know, Venus and Mars in this T square is offering us an opportunity to reflect on our relationships and how we show up in our relationships, and the need for us to change, to mature and to grow. So all we can do is look at ourselves. We can hope that others around us can do the same, but maybe we need to show them how that is done, and maybe do things in a different way. Use that Uranus energy to shock that person, to go, wow, you're different, and see what different response you get from that person, rather than staying in that fixed, I don't want to change my point of view place. You know, Aquarius energy are very good at long-term projects and goals and seeing it through the longer process. So that might be worth considering, you know, not just a short-term thing, but how can we do this for long-term change and transformation? You know, all the fixed signs are about true creative self-expression, you know, and seeing what everyone else thinks, you know, seeing the world from a different point of view, seeing it differently from what everyone else thinks, and how we're supposed to be doing it, and then doing it differently. It's full liberation from the norm. The moon being in Aquarius suggests a strong need for emotional freedom, and I can see that literally playing out. I can see my partner, who's Aquarius, as we come into this full moon, needing that emotional freedom. You know, from it's really about this sort of logic versus emotion. Really is a story in my world. So look how that is playing out for you. We've also, in the mix of all of this, still got Mercury retrograde in Leo, and it's also going to be squaring to Uranus as he passes behind the sun and back out again. So as this weekend, he's going to be in a square to Uranus, so look out for synchronicities. There's a high likelihood of synchronicities being communicated to you to help you see what it is that you need to change. Also, as the Mercury moves, Kazimi's the sun, so he comes out brand new again, the other side. As that happens, then the sun will be square to Uranus as well. So it's so Uranus, we just can't get out of it. Just accept it. Breathe through it. You know, we're not used to being in a state of flow, are we? You know, we want to take control. We want a solution and an instant fix. We want to be able to know what's coming and plan for it. But this Aquarius full moon is certainly not going to be offering us that. It's the shake to awake. That's what Uranus does. This is a Uranus gong here. Might sit in front of it for a little while later, just to get myself in that frequency of Uranus and see what it brings. You know, it is the wild card energy. There's perhaps something we didn't see coming, and it's up to us how we respond to that. You know, we could receive shocking information that is, you know, Mercury is communication. It could be that, you know, the internet goes down already, my screen has frozen and I had to restart everything. You know, it's going to reveal to us what's no longer stable or working in our lives, that's for sure. There may be Uranus is in Taurus, so it could be something around the stock markets, the economy. It's relative to the bull markets, gold, bullion. So there could be some upheaval, some headlines about that out there. But, you know, despite all this discomfort that arises during this time of these transitions, when change is being forced rather than chosen, allow it to give you a sense of freedom rather than restriction. You know, sit in your power and agency and give yourself the chance to see that it's given you a new point of view, a new vantage point is going to become available. Try not to resist it, just allow yourself to be in that flow. And I remember that memory that came up on Facebook today was of me in New York doing my advanced Strala yoga training, which was just 8 weeks after I'd experienced emergency surgery. I'd booked my dream trip to New York for a month to do this training as an act of self-love for myself after grieving the loss of my dad. So I was going through big stuff when I got there. And as I said, there was a solar eclipse in my sign of Cancer and a total lunar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius. Uranus was there, Mars was there, sudden cutting, shocking change. And I remember being in this flow state on my yoga mat. Tara's husband, Mike, was teaching this sweaty class in this heat wave to angry hip hop music. It was amazing. It didn't even feel like me on the mat. I felt like as if I was observing myself. I was in such a flow state, and in Shavasana, I felt myself leave my body. I was not in my body, and I experienced feeling my dad's energy all around me. And when I sat up finally, all my grief poured out of me. And one of my magical friends there, this beautiful Spanish girl, Tanya, she came over to me and she just said, "Kelly, you need to be with trees." And so I just picked up my bag, I walked out, I went and sat in the park in the rain. There was like a biblical storm. I was just sitting there. There were no people around. And I just cried it out. And then I was clear. And I walked back in that studio and announced that I'd be selling my business. And the rest is history. And I'll be writing about some of it in my book. And, you know, no time to tell you the rest of the story now. but I share this story with you to show you how these things can play out. So please sit and be calm. Sit and breathe. Stop and notice how you feel. Take a moment before you respond to what's coming. And, connect with me. Contact me. It's always easier when we do this together than when we do this separately. So many full moon blessings to you, and I will be back with you next week.